Hi there, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Terry, and today I am sharing a fun card that I created using some new products from the latest release. So let's get started. Okay, so here's a close-up look at the stamp set that I will be using. This one is called Hocus Pocus and is super adorable. I love the witch hats, and it also comes with the coordinating dies. So to get started on my card, I am stamping out the cute little images on white cardstock. This cardstock here is also from Say It Was Stamps. It's the Color Me cardstock. And I love this cardstock because it's so smooth. It's perfect for alcohol marker coloring. And that's what I will be doing today. So I went ahead and stamped that down with an alcohol-friendly ink as well. And after I stamped out the images, it's of course time for coloring, and I am using alcohol markers here. So I will go ahead and play a little music here, and I will speed up the coloring process. If you're not interested with the coloring process, I will also leave a time down below so you can go ahead and forward it to that time. But if you do, I hope you sit back and enjoy, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so after everything was colored in, I ran that through my die cutting machine using the coordinating dies. And of course, I love to add little details and highlights using a white gel pen, so I went ahead and added that throughout the images. Now let's talk about the sentiment. I am going in with the Halloween word trio dies, And I'm die cutting that out of black cardstock. I did die cut that a few times and I went ahead and used liquid adhesive and layered it on top of one another. I like doing this because it creates a lot of dimension without having to fussy around with foam tape. And to give the sentiment a little more interest, I like going in with my embossing ink and apply that on top of the sentiment. And then I went in with gold embossing powder and sprinkled that on top of the sentiment. Now using my heat tool, which is nice and hot, I heat set the embossing powder. I like doing this because it creates such a nice finish onto my sentiment. Here you can see how nice it looks. Okay, so for the background, we're going to use a technique called Emboss Resist. And if you haven't heard about Emboss Resist, it's a technique where you would create a background scene using your stamps and using an embossing ink, and then going in with a clear embossing powder. So what the clear embossing powder is going to do is after you heat set is going to resist any ink or medium that you put on top of it. So with this card here, I'm going in with some Distress Oxide inks, and once the blended ink lays on top of the cardstock, it's only going to lay on the area of the cardstock that doesn't have any embossing on it. So here you can see that I'm going in with some Distress Oxide inks, and I'm blending that on top of the card panel that I heat embossed. You can already see how the embossed areas are resisting the ink. And this technique is really cool because after you're done blending, you just take a little cloth and just rub it against the embossed areas. That would help wipe off the inks that's laying on top of the embossed area and brighten up the card. So I also went in and spritzed some clean water on top of my card panel as well. Okay, so let's talk about assembling the card. Before I did that, I went ahead and trimmed down my card panel. I trimmed it to 4 inches by 5 inches. And I also trimmed a matted rectangle piece in black cardstock, just a little bit larger than my card panel. I adhered the two together with liquid adhesive. To give the card a little more interest, I also went in with the mini slim bracket dies and charms, and I die cut that out of vellum paper. And here I'm just trying to figure out the placement of it. I decided to put it in the center of the card panel and fold the top over. I am using my bone folder just to enforce the edges. Now going in with some foam tape and liquid adhesive, I went ahead and popped all of the little images onto the card panel. I thought it would be a super cute idea to have her feet sticking out of the cauldron. I also went in with some embellishment and glued it down onto the card panel. And to finish off the card, I adhered it onto a card blank. And I'm using the Say with Stamps card blank because it comes pre-cut, pre-scored. So all that you have to do is enforce the score lines. And I love that because it saves me a lot of time. Okay, and before finishing off the card, I went in and glued down the bats and the little bubbles from the stamp set. And that's it. This completes my card. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and please don't forget to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.